Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we are back with another edition of the NoDQ Review, number 61. And I am Virtue here, being joined by the elite team of NoDQ, which also consists of Aaron Rift, Big G, and TJS in the kitchen. What's going on, man?
Oh, well, I got hungry, needed a little something to eat, and, found my way in the kitchen. Haven't been able to find my way out yet. I come here quite often. It's usually dark. I never can find my way out, so I'm stuck here for the time being, boys. What's going on, guys? How are you? How are you doing, Big G?
I'm doing good. Literally just finished eating dinner. Had chicken cordon bleu and fried zucchini.
Ugh.
I'm ready to discuss some wrestling. Boss man, how are you adapting to this new lifestyle of yours?
Oh, my lifestyle has been the same, but I'm doing very well. I'm enjoying the summer so far. We're just getting started. We have a lot of big events coming up, Fight for the Falling. And now we have that Evolve show on the same day as Fight for the Falling, and that's stirring the pot with people online. We got SummerSlam, we got Extreme Rules, a lot of big shows coming up, so let's go ahead and get this discussion going.
Talk about a small world. At my company, my office in Columbus, a new employee who's a lady that used to be in the Army, she's the mother of Alexa Bliss's best friend from high school. How weird. That was a conversation I had today. How weird is that? Small world.
Weird. Small world.
Well, Columbus, right? Isn't that where Alexa Bliss was from?
Yeah.
From? All right, well, let's talk about, let's get it out of the way, Stomping Grounds. Now, this was one of those throwaway pay-per-views. Everybody went in like, wow, this is going to be a bad show. It did abysmal in attendance. I guess it only sold like 4,500 tickets. They were giving some away. They might have had 5,000 or 6,000 at best in the arena, in the Tacoma Dome. They had to position them also. It looked full, tarping one side of the arena. And Aaron, Raw and SmackDown attendances were pretty weak. This is becoming a trend. So what's everybody's final thoughts on Stomping Grounds? I don't think it was horrible. It wasn't like an F or a D. It was just your normal run-of-the-mill pay-per-view. A couple cool things happened. Big G, I'll start with you. What was your final takeaways from it?
It was a decent show. I mean, it kind of shocked me that Ricochet won the title. But we know Joe loses the title all the time now, too. So, Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns winning. Didn't see that coming. I figured Drew was going to win that match. Other than that, it was decent, Not much else to say. I'm sure next year it won't be Stomping Grounds. They'll probably bring back Great Balls of Fire or something like that.
TJ, so you really didn't have much to say about it. TJS, what do you think, man? Kayfabe Candy-ass absolutely cannot stand, as most people, Baron Corbin, and that he's just a go-away heat type of main event heel guy. So what's your take on Stomping Grounds, and what's your take on Baron Corbin? And we might actually talk about that more in depth later.
Well, I thought that the show was good. I gave it, I think, a B+. I thought it was really good. And maybe that's because I had such low expectations, and it's like, it's like you said, Virtue. I think WWE is sandbagging on purpose. So that way, when they actually try, it makes them come off as like, oh, wow, best wrestling on the planet, as Seth Rollins says. It's really peculiar. Now, I thought that all the matches were good. I didn't think there was a bad one besides Kofi match. I mean, I was just bored by it. Other than that, good show, I thought. And as far as Baron Corbin goes, I think him and Shane McMahon are the two top most credible heels in the company as far as I'm concerned. Like, the only thing that I like about Baron Corbin is this theme song. That's it. And, the way he dresses, the way that, he just does all the taunting to the crowd. He's a slow-paced guy. That is ideal heel, as far as I'm concerned. I think that he gets, like, major heat, and he's come a long way since the NXT days. So, yeah, I think that he's doing good. I'm kind of tired of seeing him versus Seth, but I still think that he's a really good, credible heel, and he stepped it up in a big way. Big G, what do you think of Stomping Grounds? And
he already answered. He went first.
Answered that. Oh, yeah,
he did.
Well,
pass it on to Aaron Riff.
Aaron, yes.
Well, I already talked about Stomping Grounds. I have nothing else to really say about it. I don't know why we need to do the final thoughts. Final thoughts, it was an okay show, but nothing all that memorable.
What was your grade?
Because every NoDQ review that followed a pay-per-view, we talked about it regardless if we talked about it on Sunday or not. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, so wait,
with
Aaron, what did you give Stomping Grounds?
B-. I thought it was a good show. I thought
And
pretty much
TJS, you
the
said
same
B+?
thing.
B+.
Yeah, I thought the same thing as TJS. I thought
Yeah.
Kofi and Dolph Ziggler was not a very exciting match to watch, even though it was supposed to be this epic showdown between these two guys to settle their score. Just didn't really feel like a main event caliber match.
So what was the best match on this card, if you had to pick one?
Best match on the card, maybe
Sammy KO for me.
Yeah, maybe. Or Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre.
It was Roman and McIntyre. And for anybody that says not, you just want to hate on their style of wrestling and the fact that no one's ever liked Roman Reigns. Okay? It was the best match. Go back and watch it. Roman did a dive over the top rope. Okay?
Yeah.
And the crowd,
and that says a lot.
And the crowd was chanting Roman's name, so there you go.
Yeah. I'll give it
a B-, C+. Like, it just, like, nothing big happened. I mean, Lacey coming out and the whole ending, that was big to WWE. That's not big to fans. You know, we would have liked to have seen something. You know, like maybe Brock doing a nice tease cash, and maybe if he was the referee. We just don't get special stuff anymore. Maybe once or twice a year at best. But that's the biggest problem with throwaway.
I think they leave it for the big shows. So
yeah, and that is what it is. But you know, let's talk about, since I brought up Roman Reigns, we're looking at Ziggler and Corbin getting main event spots. Now, granted, they may be temporary. Suddenly, Roman's not looking that bad in a main event spot. And quite honestly, we're all sick of the Shane McMahon best in the world thing. So I know it's going to probably happen closer to SummerSlam, going, you know, SmackDown onto Fox. But what's everybody's take? I think Roman, he's back. I didn't think he was going to be back from leukemia. I thought we were going to be out. He was going to be out for years. Yeah. Put him back up there. Who cares if you're worried about the Boo Birds coming back? Because if you really think that's going to be a problem, just turn a damn guy heel already. So, Aaron, what's your thoughts, man? Roman should be in there right now. I mean, we're getting stale Ziggler, Corbin. People are saying go away heat. At least Roman gets the heat because it's Roman Reigns, and that's never going to go away. So what do you think, man?
Well, I feel like they're trying to be careful with how they utilize him and not rush him back into the main event, but he does have that star power, and when Roman Reigns is in a match, people take it seriously, regardless of what you think about the guy. Roman Reigns has that main event presence. Now, granted, not every match he's been in was a hit with everyone, like the WrestleMania match with Brock Lesnar, but he's had a lot of big matches that have delivered and have been memorable. So, yeah, I think it is time to maybe get him back in the main event picture, because let's be real here. Baron Corbin ain't cutting it. Dolph Ziggler ain't cutting it. So when all else fails, either put Roman Reigns back in the spot or build up a new star and go all the way with that guy and put him in the main event and make him a credible threat to the championship. It looks like Lars Sullivan's out of action now for quite a while. So there goes that big push. And yeah, I don't really see anybody on the horizon. That's the problem. They need some new star power. They need some fresh blood. They just keep relying on Corbin. Corbin with this whole Olive Garden gear, whatever you want to call it. You have Dolph Ziggler, Fridays. Who nobody, TJF5 Fridays, whatever. Dolph Ziggler with his whole start and stop push. I don't know. They just need some fresh blood, in my opinion. And I think that until they have a new person, then you got to go with what works. And Roman Reigns is the closest thing to John Cena that they've had. But what they really need is a new John Cena or a new Steve Austin, a new Rock. But we've been saying that for years, and they just don't have that guy. And it doesn't look like they're going to have that guy anytime soon.
Big G.
Yes, Big G. All right. So I think Roman does need to go back into the main event spot. They desperately need it. But like Aaron said, I think they're going to wait until the right time. So I'm thinking either SummerSlam or when they go to Fox in October. Dolph Ziggler, I think, is just temporary. You know, he's not doing his comedy tour right now. So I'm sure maybe Tuesday was the last time we saw him for a while. And Baron Corbin, well, you know, people hate him. He's doing his job. People are booing him. And I think he's only a temporary thing, or in a temporary position as well. And as far as like Aaron said, there being new blood, they're just gonna rely on the same old people. They're gonna if they bring up NXT stars, they're just gonna be floating around, not knowing what to do and whatnot, and we'll see what happens.
TJS, wouldn't you like to see a Roman Reigns versus EC3 feud for the WWE or Universal titles? I'm just saying, what do you think? You got Roman up there who's been in that spot before and new blood. I'm just throwing that out there. Give me something better if you have it.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Roman is the new John Cena. Like, John Cena has always been a polarizing figure, and if you need to know anything else, Roman Reigns, I think the wild card rule was established to have him on both shows. Like, that's the reason. And
would you agree, though, that Roman has gotten better or that Cena got better creative during his run than Roman's got?
Yeah.
That hurts Roman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because Cena had this real, like, edge to him, and they make Roman do some dumb stuff sometimes. Like, and the thing is, the dude is so talented, you just got to book him right. Like, the match with McIntyre, I want those two guys to just beat the crap out of each other. Don't do wrestling moves. Just punch each other. Fine. And then as far as like Roman being in the main event scene, I think it's going to be Shane versus Roman for the Premier Fall, because I think Shane's going to take the title off Kofi at SummerSlam, hold it until October, and then I think Roman's gonna win. And it seems like Shane has plenty of lackeys to do his work for him, so he's going to have this reign of terror, and eventually Roman is going to like run through everybody and say, all right, Shane, no more running. You're going to take me on in a 2 out of 3 falls elimination match.
Do you think they're onto something? You think this heat for Shane is going to get so bad, especially if he wins the WWE title, that by default, a percentage of those Roman still has the kids and the women that like him, right?
Yeah.
Mark's like me. But the people that hate Roman, you think a percentage of them would just say, I'd rather see it on Roman, and actually kind of root for him against Shane? Are they onto something?
Yeah.
If they do that?
Think about, like, Roman is at least like a freak athlete. Shane is just like how old is he? Like 50 something? This dude, he gets winded so easily. And that's the thing. I think people want like a credible WWE champion, and we see how Kofi's going.
Hey, well, Jinder Mahal just signed a new 5-year contract apparently, so maybe we're gonna get a new Jinder push.
I mean, seriously, Roman dove over the top rope, full speed, like the same type that Undertaker tried to do and almost broke his neck at a WrestleMania. Roman, and then he was joking on Twitter, I bet you want me in 205 Live now. See, Roman has some good character that I think could play off well if they let him just be himself.
Yeah.
And play to the internet like Seth Rollins gets to do, which we'll talk about. But yeah, it's time. I mean, the summer's here. I guess it'll get here soon enough. But I mean, come on, Ziggler and Corbin. I mean, you might as well put Roman back there now. Why wait?
Yeah.
Brock's not coming back for a while until he's ready to cash in. This all ties into Undertaker. Aaron, I want to start with you. He's back again. And man, does he just look so old and slow. And I look at him and I feel pain. Like, what do you think, man? Obviously, to me, those ticket sales were so bad at the Tacoma Dome. They're thinking, well, just putting him on the card for Extreme Rules, we'll sell another 1,500, 2,000 tickets. What do you think?
Well, I think WWE recently signed him to a new contract, and they feel that they have to get their money's worth with The Undertaker, and thus they're calling him back to the ring to do some more matches. And he's probably like, well, yeah, I'm getting paid, so whatever, man, let's do it. But yeah, I'm not really all that excited about this match. I suppose it's somewhat interesting because it's playing off of the past between Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, going back to that WrestleMania 33 match. And now Undertaker, I guess, is going to be the latest guy to try and get Roman Reigns over as a babyface and put the seal of approval on him. And we'll see if anybody really cares in the long run. Like, I just want to see some fresh feuds at this point. I'm tired of the whole Shane McMahon best in the world thing. It was funny for a while, but it's run its course, and I feel bad for the Miz, who just he's basically the punching bag for Shane McMahon every week. He seems to be losing every week, and Miz is just a little side player, which is just a real shame because, last year Miz was doing some of the best promo work of his career, and look at him now. I feel bad for the guy, even though, yeah, you could say, well, he's on TV every week, he's making millions of dollars, but I just feel like the Miz is just so good that he should be at that higher level, and he just hasn't been there. He's basically a bit player at this point. Undertaker being there, to me, just comes off as desperate, and I guess the child in me will cheer for him, but I'm over it. I really think it's time for him to call it a career. I mean, maybe he wants to erase that Goldberg match from memory and have a good send off. I don't know, but Extreme Rules, some random pay-per-view. I feel like this is just WWE desperately trying to boost those ticket sales, as you mentioned, due to some of the lower numbers as of late.
So TJS, do you think, like, wouldn't it just be better if they put like Seth and Roman together and made Becky like the honorary third member of the Shield, like really take a jab at Moxley? But no, we can't think like that in WWE. We'll just bring back the Undertaker. Go ahead, man. What do you think?
You could do Shane, Steph, Drew versus Seth, Becky, and Roman. That would be perfect.
Yeah. Easy peasy, but it's too hard for them.
Yeah, I want McMahon to pin Undertaker though. Greg Cherry said that, and I think that would be hilarious if he pins Undertaker, and then he could just keep talking about this whole best in the world thing.
Greg Cherry likes Undertaker, or not Taker, Shane and Corbin. He's really getting behind their pushes.
I think like the Shane McMahon thing. I just think it's funny that this dude is like when he beat Roman, I just like busted out laughing because how funny. Anyway, with Undertaker, I saw this meme. It's like, in case of emergency, summon Undertaker, and it seems like that's what WWE's doing. They see the low ticket sales, like you guys said, and they're like, we got to get Undertaker in there. And I saw a clip from Undertaker doing an interview a while back, and he's like, when the time comes and I can't hang with the younger generation of guys, I don't want to look like a fool. I want to retire at that point. It's like, what happened, man? Was that just the American badass talking? Yeah. And speaking of that, I think it's funny how Dolph Ziggler recently showed up to get that Saudi Arabia payday. But yeah, I wish there was a reason given for the Undertaker thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He just shows up. There's no reason given or anything like that. Honestly, it was probably booked like the day before the show, and Vince was like, gotta fly in Undertaker. Like, I don't know. But the match, I don't really care about it. I don't even care who's gonna win or anything like that. Tag matches bore me, so we'll see.
Especially with no titles. It's like, who cares? Or no stipulation, like winners get to do this, or it's just dumb. It's throwaway.
Yeah. It's a B show, so I'm really surprised Undertaker's working. But like you said, Aaron probably wants to get the bad taste out of his mouth, so he gets in there with an equally bad worker, Shane McMahon. Makes a lot of sense to me.
I just wanted to say, I think it's hilarious, the idea of Shane McMahon beating Undertaker. I would just laugh my ass off if that's the finish for Extreme Rules. Just
especially after. Well, think about the McMahon way. Remember, Taker beat him in that Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Was it
50-50 booking?
What WrestleMania was that? 32?
32.
Yeah.
And then, like, if Shane pins that would be nuts. But McMahon Taker in this match, imagine that. And that's Vince McMahon. Big G, what do you think about this? I mean, are you resting in peace?
Well, you know how loud that pop was when he came out, and I just stood there. I just sat there and like, really? You're bringing back the Undertaker not even 3 weeks after Super Showdown? And I agree with Aaron. I think he's doing this match just to get the bad taste out of his mouth. And as far as the match, I'm not really excited either. But I'm making a bold prediction here. Roman and Taker are gonna win, and then Taker is either gonna turn on Roman to set up a match at SummerSlam, or he's gonna grab the mic and say, you know what? We got some unfinished business. I'll meet you at the ring at SummerSlam. Bold prediction from Big G.
Yeah, Undertaker's back. Since we're talking, TGS, you have another comment?
If not that, I don't know what Roman would do, because I expect Shane to challenge Kofi at some. So Maybe we'll get Drew versus Roman 2 out of 3 falls.
Maybe we'll
Everything's
get
2
a
out of
best
3
of
falls.
7 series between them.
God.
They might,
I'm surprised they
at
didn't
this
do that
point-
with Kofi and Ziggler.
At this point, they might as well do a best of 7 between Drew and Roman Reigns.
WWE should make history. They should do like a best out of 15 or something like that.
God.
That'll be for Saudi Arabia because they got to, do stuff there they've never done before.
The greatest, best.
No, the
of
greatest
match-
Survivor Series of all time. It'll be like 10-on-10 matches. It'll be just.
Wait a minute, hold on. Haven't they technically done that, like with the tag teams back in the day, like
Yeah.
5 teams on each side?
It'll be a 10-man tag team match, 2 out of 3 falls.
20-on-20. Well, all right, let's move on here. Bray Wyatt, they did not do the Firefly Funhouses this week on Raw or SmackDown. And I wasn't paying attention, thanks to social media, a lot of the puppets made little cameos in the background. So I just want to know everybody's just quick thoughts on this. Do you think this is going to go on now for several weeks, or is the Firefly Funhouse gimmick thing going to finally land on TV in the arena? Whether it's a show, however they do it, backstage, spooky things. What do you think? I'll start with you, Big G.
Yeah, I didn't even notice the puppets either until, like you said, social media. And I think, was it UTJS who pointed them out on the Facebook Messenger chat?
You do pay way too close attention to these shows.
Yeah, I wasn't even really paying attention, but I think it's evolving, and I think we'll see Bray Wyatt eventually being on TV before SummerSlam, for sure.
Okay. TJS?
Well, I'll just say that I feel like what they're doing here is, maybe I'm looking too much into this, but I'm thinking so before the puppets were confined to the funhouse, and now the Fiend teleported away from the funhouse. So does that mean the Fiend is running around loose somewhere like the puppets, or
Well, if you pay attention, if you remember the last episode, he kind of did evaporate.
Yeah, he disappeared. So I'm thinking that maybe he's on the loose, and we had somebody knock on Aleister Black's door, and Bray's whole thing was let me in. So maybe he was knocking on Aleister Black's door. That would be creative.
They did leave a little cliffhanger there.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool. We barely get those anymore. I feel like we're probably not going to get Bray versus Aleister because neither of those guys can afford to lose right now. I don't know what's going to happen with Bray. I'm sure he's going to be a babyface. Other than that, no idea. I expect him to wrestle at SummerSlam, though. Aaron?
Well, I think we will be seeing him any time now, since he was backstage at the Stomping Grounds pay-per-view as well as Raw, but not utilized yet. I think they finished up the vignettes and they're all done with that. So, yeah, I think it's time to take it to the next level, have him maybe appear in the crowd, maybe do some more types of segments where he's not actually in the ring, actually have him.
How about commentary booth?
Interesting, or just have him walk up to the commentators and just stare at them and look scary and then walk off. Just little things where he makes his presence felt, but he's not actually wrestling yet. Make people wait for it. Just like with Sting. Sting got over by not wrestling and just finding different ways creatively to utilize him without actually having him in matches. I'd like to see the same thing with Bray Wyatt, and just maybe at SummerSlam, like you guys mentioned, that's when you finally get him in the ring for a match. Don't throw it away at Extreme Rules. I don't think that's necessary.
No. We haven't seen Randy Orton for a few, have we? What's the news on him? Anything?
Not since Super Showdown.
Yeah.
Well, there was a rumor that maybe he was going to feud with Aleister Black, but there's also a rumor that Aleister Black is going to feud with Cesaro, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's another thing. I'm hoping WWE will finally do something with Aleister. I've been a pretty big critic of these segments just because I feel like he was doing fine on his own, doing his own thing, and now they got him doing all these promos, and it wasn't necessary in my opinion.
Hey, did you guys hear what the main event, it was either this week or the other week, the Lucha House Party lost to EC3, Robert Roode, and Cesaro. Yeah.
Well, they should have lost. In reality, they should.
Yeah, but why do you have EC3, Robert Roode, and Cesaro on main event?
Because you got to get Roman Reigns on both shows. You got to get New Day on both shows. You got to get
Shane.
Yeah, Shane hogging the airtime, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's a good topic. We'll blast through these. So sifting through the poo. That's what this topic's called. What's the worst? And it's going to be tough because there's a lot of them, but I want and it will probably overlap. What's everybody's opinion on the worst storyline and feud right now in WWE? Now, Big G, I know you wanted to talk about NXT, especially when we talk about the best, because you probably can't think of one. We're talking main roster. We really want to expose this main roster right now. So sift through the poo. What's the worst right now? I'm going to start with you. Main roster, feud storyline. You knew about this ahead of time.
Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston.
So it was really that bad? Now, do you think that they did that because, it was Saudi Arabia, Daniel Bryan doesn't go over there, so many people didn't go over there, and Ziggler was just the hired hand that wanted the money?
Yeah.
So that's what this feud felt like. So that's a good choice. Any particular, you want to go in depth on that, or just because nothing, climatic?
It just Ziggler came out of nowhere, and if it should have been me, it should have been me. And it didn't really escalate in anything. You had one match at Super Showdown, and then you had the match at Stomping Grounds, a steel cage match, which up until the end where Kofi literally leaped over Ziggler to win the match, and that was it.
Okay, so fair enough. TJS, sift through the poo.
Worst feud or worst storyline?
Both. Either or, however you want to, just that really makes you cringe. Like, why is this on TV?
This is going to be unpopular, but I'm going to say the Becky Seth thing is so cringy to me. I think it's awful. I just do. I love both of those wrestlers, but what they're doing is terrible. It's awful. Like, it's so, and they go on social media even. WWE posted a picture with, like, cheesy song lyrics. Like, you're supposed to have two badass characters here, and what you're doing is, like, trying to write a love story about it. It's like as soon as they found out they were dating, Vince is like, we're going to have them kiss. It's such good shit.
And I want to go in depth on that when that's going to be our main event. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's like a teaser. We have cliffhangers here on the NoDQ review, but that's a very interesting point that you don't like that. And I think we're going to have a lot to say. So is that cool if I just cut you off for a minute there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Aaron, sift through the poo, man.
Okay, well, I can pretty much cover everything. So
you got to have the top, though. The
top for me right now is probably Samoa Joe and just everything that's been going on with him as of late. First of all, Joe being booked like a complete loser, a guy who talks a big game but always comes up short. The whole Rey Mysterio Samoa Joe thing was ridiculous with Joe beating him decisively at WrestleMania. Cool. Move on to the next thing. Instead, Mysterio beats him at the pay-per-view, and then Mysterio hands the title to him, and that's recognized, even though Jack Tunney back in the day said that a title cannot be given to somebody. So that was established in the 80s, but of course the rules change.
Now, I want you to elaborate on something, because you pointed this out. He lost the U.S. title, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was you or Russo, and then he's rewarded with attacking Kofi and maybe a shot. Or the shot at the WWE, explain, that's nothing.
Okay, so back in the day, the United States champion would be the number one contender for the world title. Now you're the U.S. champion, you lose the title that you didn't actually win, and then you attack a guy and become the number one contender. And to me, that is really lame. So I have to go with the Samoa Joe storyline. Just in general, how Joe has been booked the last several months. That has to be the worst thing right now. But there's a lot. Tag team titles, both Raw and SmackDown. The Revival barely even appearing on television as champions. Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan. I like the team, but Daniel Bryan went from being WWE champion to losing pretty much every pay-per-view now. Rowan's being protected for some ungodly reason. I don't know. Women's Championship, the Bayley storyline. I guess it's interesting with what's going on with Alexa and Nikki Cross. And Bayley's been booked all right as champion so far. The Raw Women's Championship, Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch. It's had its moments, but I don't feel like it's doing Becky any favors. I mean, she has cooled off so much since the beginning of the year, and this Lacey Evans feud is not really helping matters. And then, of course, Universal Championship. People really don't want to see Baron Corbin in there. It's just tedious storytelling. They're relying on the lame-ass heel referee gimmick at Stomping Grounds that we've already seen time and time again. So, yeah, pretty much every storyline is flawed in my opinion, and there's nothing that I really look at and say, wow, this is some amazing, captivating storytelling. Just don't really see anything.
The next part of this topic is going to be a struggle for you then. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how about Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley, man? What are they going to do next week? Pizza eating contest?
Dude, I could not believe two things: that the tug of war happened, and the fact that Braun was doing a stupid semi-spot that was Mark Henry's gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? WWE's got to recycle TV because that's all they know.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. The Usos. Why are they doing comedy? They called Revival SpongeBob and Patrick. Like, come on, dude. These were like some
like 15 or 20 years ago funny. Like, SpongeBob's old news now.
It's just so...
Wow. All right. So here we go. Josh Mansfield, and I don't care. I don't care what people say. Sean Ross Sapp, especially you. Kofi Kingston is an abomination. Not the man. Okay, he's making a paycheck. He's getting probably paid more than he ever got paid. So I respect that part of it. But from a WWE creative standpoint, putting the title on him the way they did it and running with the New Day gimmick with pancakes, a steel cage, and he's throwing pancakes over it. Anytime I look at the WWE title, there's a plate of pancakes eye level with it. This is unacceptable. I hate it. They had something great, TJS, going with Daniel Bryan. And he gets removed out of this, maybe because he didn't want to travel to Saudi Arabia, and he gets put as a tag team with Eric Rowan, so Kofi can all of a sudden go from a 50-50 booked wrestler at best the last 10, 11 years, right? Maybe a little higher than that with the new, if you count all those New Day title retained, but remember, it was a three-man Freebird rules. To all of a sudden, now the guy can't lose. Yeah. And that it's just as bad on the opposite spectrum as when Jinder won it. And I know when I first said that, people were saying, oh, you can't compare it. Kofi's talented, Jinder sucks. I'm not comparing their talents. It's awful, and it shows you how bad the WWE creative product is that they couldn't even book Kofi the right way. All I asked for is Kofi got started. The push began 6 months ago, a year ago. Dissension in the New Day. Remember that little video they did online on Twitter where they reenacted the barbershop like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty? I would have actually liked to see something like that played out on TV, and that's how this all happened.
Right.
And again, I don't hate Kofi as a performer because I know he's making bank, and good for him.
Yeah.
But I hate the character and the way Vince McMahon is. He's guilty of it because New Day, people hated it at first, but I got him to like it, damn it. And I hate it. See, I don't like everything Vince McMahon does. So that's my rant. Now, here's the hardest part of this for all of us. What's the best storyline or feud in the main roster right now? Okay, Big G, go for it. There has to be one thing. And
you guys are probably going to hate me. You guys are going to hate me, probably. I think right now the best storyline going on right now is the 24/7 title.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people agree with that. You want to elaborate on that at all, or just because it's getting attention?
Well, it's getting attention, and the creative people, you know, they're actually being creative about it. I mean, for crying out loud, Drake Maverick allowed them to go to his wedding to get pinned by R-Truth. And I think that's got over like 3.5 million views or something like that. And these things are getting millions and millions of views.
Birdie told me, this is completely speculation, that Jeremy Borash has a lot to do with these vignette segments.
I believe it.
And possibly Matt Hardy, too.
I believe it. And, you know, R-Truth is an 8-time champion. And they're getting everybody from the lower card to like lower mid card involved with everything. And this is, you know, a big push for R-Truth. You know, people love him. He can do comedy very well. And I enjoy it. And Drake,
you know what I think would make it better if they did all this, but they never really had a title. It was an imaginary, invisible title, and like they'd hold it up and act like they had it, but you never saw the ugly 24/7 title. But anyway, I like that, Big G. That's a good point. You found something. Yeah. Aaron Riff, just say ditto and we can move on. But anything?
Well, yeah, I agree completely with Big G about that. I mean, it's far and away the thing that I feel is intriguing on WWE television, and I feel it's the only thing that is keeping people somewhat invested in the WWE product. You got fans that are tuning in that otherwise would not watch any kind of WWE programming. You got people that will watch on YouTube and will check out the clips, and other than that, they're not following the product at all. So it's working to some degree, for sure.
Do you guys think Truth is a better champion than Rollins? Like, more like...
He's entertaining in a different way.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it can be goofy and okay for, like, you know what I mean? Rollins has to be serious.
Yeah.
R-Truth can be goofy and people don't care.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's better. Like, Santino goofy to me sucked. There might have been a small window it was okay, but it really got bad. R-Truth goofy's kind of always been somewhat over.
Yeah.
So, TJS, anything, you just going to piggyback off that, or you got something different?
Pretty much, man. I mean, the R-Truth Drake Maverick thing is hilarious. Like, Drake Maverick is doing a really good job at this, like, being all depressed about losing the title. And I feel like you can really make some stars out of this 24/7 title thing. I mean, yeah, the title's ugly, but you have all of these stars that don't usually get airtime, and they win the title. I mean, hey, gold is gold.
Yeah.
And it's still in the record book.
It's like the hardcore title. It changed so many times. You had so many champions, you know?
Yeah, and the Firefly Funhouse. That's the other thing that I really like about the product. Other than that, oh, yikes, man. I don't know. It's just got to be Firefly Funhouse 24/7 title. You said that Seth has to be serious. Kofi's not. Like, it pisses me off that this guy, he wears the title, and then he puts pancakes behind the title. That just makes me so angry.
Well, you know what? He's trolling everybody now because he knows we like to complain about it, so he's doing it even more now just to say, hey, I'm the WWE champion. I'm making millions of dollars, so kiss my ass, all you haters. And
the guy is a great athlete. Like, this guy, he's really good at what he does, but damn it, why does he have to throw the pancakes?
Right. I want to see some real drama here. Like, I feel like the opportunity has been missed to break up the New Day and get Xavier or Big E over as massive heels and just shake things up a little bit. Like, if you're going to have Kofi as WWE champion, give us a real meaty, intense storyline with the New Day breaking up, something that's going to be memorable because they have been arguably the best tag team of the past 5 years. So why not do a major storyline here? And, you know, the WWE title for a lot of guys over the years was like their life, their livelihood. It was more important than anything. Triple H, you go back to the Attitude Era, all those promos, he talked about how the WWE title was more meaningful to him than anything in the world. And if that's the case, then Xavier and Big E should not settle for being behind Kofi Kingston. They should want to be in that spot. Everybody should want to be WWE champion. And jealousy is one of those key concepts in storytelling. And I'd like to see some of that with these guys and see some real drama.
They earned him the championship match. So, yeah, I could see them being like, hey, I mean, you know, this ain't right. And then, like, challenge him to a 2 out of 3 falls match or something.
So, Firefly Funhouse, that was probably it for me. But I also do like a duo. I really don't know who their feud is. New Day, I don't really know if they have one. But, like, anytime I see lately Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, it's like, wow, they're standing out above the rest of the roster to me. And I don't know if it's because of their history together. And now, granted, they're not really doing much with them other than come out, cut promos. Did they just beat the New Day in a tag team match on SmackDown? So I would like to see them get traction and get like a good feud, or at least one of them get a big push and the other one to be the sidekick. But, I mean, let's just do it. You know, remember they feuded for the longest time, and then finally they kind of merged them together. Then Sammy got hurt. Sammy came back, cut these great promos on the fans, and then they kind of went away from that a little bit. Now you got them together again. For some reason, KO and Zayn, like, when I listen when they're on TV, I watch when they're in a match. And I can't say that about a lot of people. Yeah. So it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
How about this, Aaron Rift? I'll start with you. So what's that AEW, not the Fyter Fest, what's the other? Isn't there, maybe it's the Fyter Fest. So WWE is going to show on their network an indie promotion, stream it live. the same day as an AEW event's happening. What AEW event is that? Because I'm getting them mixed up, Artie. I know about All Out and Fyter Fest.
Okay, so Fyter Fest is this weekend, and then Fight for the Falling is next month, and that's the tribute show that they're doing to victims of gun violence.
Okay. Sounds like a Transformers movie, Big G. All right, so on that same day, WWE is airing. Now, we know they've had some affiliation with this Evolve promotion before, for whatever reason. Do you think, is like a Johnny Gargano going to be on this card? Because sometimes contracted WWE wrestlers have wrestled for this Evolve. So,
Yeah, right.
Aaron, what do you think is going to happen with this? Or are they just doing it to really just get Mark's attention, fans' attention, internet's attention? What do you think about this?
Well, it's interesting because I believe Evolve announced the date before AEW did, and now WWE is putting it on the network, which of course is very interesting considering what's going on with AEW right now. And
oh, wait. Isn't there also, Big G, and because I think it parallels, what other WWE events happening on the same day as an AEW event? Is that an NXT?
NXT UK.
Now we got two cases. All right, continue, Aaron Rift.
yeah, so it's kind of interesting how this is all playing out. Nice little coincidences, or are they? Yeah, the NXT UK show on the same day is All Out. Fight for the Fallen, whatever, and the WWE Evolve partnership. It's definitely going to be an interesting month and an interesting couple of months coming up here with all the big events. I just find it interesting what's going on Twitter with all the back and forth. You have Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay going back and forth, and now you got Kenny Omega tweeting about it. So yeah, things are definitely picking up. Business is picking up, as Jared would say, and for us as fans, I think it's entertaining to watch and see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a sign that WWE takes AEW seriously, way more seriously than they ever took TNA.
Because Vince McMahon's pulling the puppet strings with everything, and Vince Russo is onto something. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe it's all work.
TJ, well, I mean, it's funny, though. Like, the wrestlers are making it seem that way. TJS,
yeah.
thoughts?
Well, I know that Adam Cole is on the Evolve card. It's him versus Akira Tozawa for the NXT title. I know that's one match. And then
Matt
I know
Riddle.
Yeah, Matt Riddle has a match. I don't remember who his opponent is. But, I mean, those are some big names for that card. And, yeah, it's absolutely not a coincidence that they're doing this. I don't think so anyway. They're acknowledging AEW. Triple H did it at the Hall of Fame speech. They know they're there. And I don't think Kenny Omega really has a gripe because it's not like WWE is airing one of their shows.
I heard he deleted one of his tweets, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. And I don't know. I just feel like it's just ranting on social media is kind of unprofessional. We saw Ziggler do that for a long time, and it just doesn't really get you anywhere, I don't think. Look at Sasha Banks. She ranted on social media. Where the hell is she? But yeah, if I had to choose, I'd probably watch the AEW show over the Evolve one, honestly. Because I really want to see what AEW is all about. People are saying that they're like on fire or whatever. I mean, once they get the week show, then you can say that. But right now, it's just special shows. So, Big G, what do you think?
I think I'll be watching the Evolve show. Honestly, I'm not gonna be paying no $60 for a pay-per-view. I mean, like,
catch your clips later online, right?
Well, wait, it's free.
What is?
Both Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen are free.
Really? Well,
Yes.
then you know what? I'll have Evolve on my big screen TV, and I'll have the other one on my phone. There we go. Simple as that.
Well, wait a minute. Why Evolve on the big
Because
screen?
I think Big G's really getting that NXT vibe with Evolve, right?
You know, I've been to they had an Evolve show in Maryland last year or 2 years ago, and I went to that, and it was intriguing, and that's where Matt Riddle came from too, right? Evolve, I think. So they're gonna bring guys that wrestled there before, and we'll see what happens. You'll have some people tune into AEW. You have the loyal WWE fans tune into the Evolve show. So
I think WWE wants to make, at least Triple H wants to make people think he owns the Indies. I mean, that's what I get out of it. Like Vince McMahon once owned the territories when it was all said and done.
There you
Let's
go.
just move on to the main event. So we've touched, TJS, you touched on this earlier. We're going to talk about Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, okay? Are they bringing each other down because of the exploitation of their, and I'm going to go quote, relationship? And Rollins has been defending his work and WWE's like he's defending his high school, like football team against another football. That's what I'm getting out of it. So do you think like there's a lot of insecurity settling in with this? And then I do have something that I picked up on one of Russo's podcasts about this Becky and Seth relationship in a minute. So TJS, I'm going to start with you. What's your thought on this, man? It's kind of awkward, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like they force this all the time. It's like, hey, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are dating. It's just so unnecessary. Like, if you were subtle about it, fine. But it's just so blatant. It's like, we know. And they just keep pushing it. It's like, oh, yeah, our champions, they're dating. Like, I would like it better if we had, like, speculation and they didn't reveal it. It's like, are Seth and Becky dating? Like, and then, I mean, why couldn't they just have, like, a live sex celebration or something like Lita? That would have been more entertaining than this whole, just so cringy to me. Because it makes them look soft. Like, you saw Becky Lynch, like, she was a certified badass or whatever. So was Seth. He was stomping people's heads in. Now it's like, oh, yeah, I'm dating Becky and I'm dating Seth. We have to be all lovey-dovey on the air. It's like, I bet Vince is getting off to this, but nobody else wants to. It's just terrible. Like, I bet Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, we're going to get Seth and Becky or a mistletoe or something.
So TJ, you're great at like just surfing the internet. And Big G, even you, have we seen any personal pictures out and about, not in a WWE environment, of Becky and Seth?
Yes.
Where were they?
At the MTV Movie Awards.
As WWE people at the MTV Music, but were there other wrestlers at these awards?
I think so.
That's what I'm saying. Is this relationship a work? Is this relationship a work? It kind of happened out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, there was like
they're too awkward with each other, unless they're that embarrassed to be on TV getting exploited.
I think they're like TJ has said. I think they're forcing them to. You're a couple like off screen, so let's exploit it on screen. And when Lacey low-blowed Seth the other night at Stomping Grounds, I was like, all right, Becky's gonna come out here eventually. And well, she did, and pretty much saved him, making him look kind of weak at the same time. And it's just, I don't know. Like TJ has said, I think Vince is getting off on this, and he's really enjoying it. We seen it before with Cena and Nikki when they were dating. Miz and Maurice, Edge and Lita, so forth and so forth. And it's just, I don't know. I like both of them, but like Aaron said, they've both cooled off significantly, especially Becky. I think we're having a Becky hangover. She's already beaten Lacey Evans twice, and now we're getting a mixed tag team match at Extreme Rules, winner takes all. So we obviously know who's going to win there.
Look at all the top champions. Nothing against any of them.
It's just like...
But they were all at Stomping Grounds.
And don't get me wrong.
Advertised for Stomping Grounds, and the place only sold 4,500 tickets. And I rest my case. And there's no debate. There's no argument that these people aren't main eventers.
Don't get me wrong. I still like Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, but
I know, me too. But I'm just pointing out.
Keep the personal relationship off the air. Maybe once in a while have them do something on air, but not where it's constantly gonna be every single week. Maybe after Extreme Rules, it'll be done. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, and Becky's only there because it's like, oh, Seth Rollins isn't gonna hit Lacey with that chair. It's like if it was Stone Cold Steve Austin, he would have cracked her over the head with it, like he did. Like, come on. And and also, like, WWE tweeted this thing about they posted lyrics of Becky and Seth when they were looking at each other, and then Becky tweeted and said, "Please stop." So I don't know if that's like her character or if she just actually means that, but It's getting real old.
This is so much disconnect. Aaron, what's your thoughts on this? And even elaborate more on what do you think with Rollins' recent defense of his brand, his company, in a time where the internet hates it?
Yeah, well, as far as Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch goes, TJS, you did make a very valid point there with reference to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I think of like when Austin and Deborah, when their relationship went public and they started appearing together on WWE TV, I felt like that took a little bit of the edge off of Steve Austin when he was there with Deborah and, being, in a relationship and all that stuff. Like, I kind of like got into Steve Austin as this loner type that just did his own thing and, wasn't, within the system and being part of the establishment by being in a relationship and that sort of thing. So, yeah, with Becky Lynch.
Well said, Aaron Rift. Well said.
Yeah, like Becky Lynch, she was kind of like that rebel, just doing her own thing, and now her and Seth are together. So, yeah, I think it takes the edge off of them a little bit. I mean, I really don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's not the most annoying thing on WWE television. I think that there are far worse things to complain about. But, yeah, to me, it feels like it's just being done right now so WWE can keep the Baron Corbin storyline going on. And, hey, let's try to milk this for one more month. So let's put Seth and Becky together against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Like, I feel like that's the only reason it's being done right now, just so you can drag those storylines out because they, quite frankly, cannot come up with anything better. And as far as Rollins and the internet comments go, I'm not surprised. He's the Universal Champion. He's making a great living. He's living a dream right now. So, of course, he's going to defend his company. He's not going to go on social media and say, well, yeah, we're kind of number 2 right now. AEW's putting out better shows than us. Of course, he's going to go on there and say, my brand is the best brand. He's representing the company. That's his job, He's waving the WWE flag. So, of course, he's going to say WWE is the best wrestling on the planet.
Dude, I love when he said Ricochet at the expense of Will Ospreay. We got the better version of you. I love that. That was creative. I liked it because he was defending his coworker.
Yeah.
So speaking of Ricochet, have you guys heard he's supposed to be debuting the Finger Poke of Doom real soon? I've been hearing.
Ooh.
Yeah. We'll see.
That might be like even better than the Hogan Kevin Nash version.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a mixture of the Mandible Claw and the Finger Poke of Doom. Supposed to. I mean, I feel bad. It would really stink to get hit with that.
So, I mean, anything else you want to add, Aaron?
I've said my piece on it. Like, I really don't have a big problem with it, with the Seth and Becky romance. But, yeah, I think that it's just being done to keep the storyline moving with Baron Corbin and giving another excuse to have those guys wrestle.
Yeah, I just think it's a desperate attempt to mask the fact that they gave in to all the fans' demands for WrestleMania season. Kofi's a champion, Becky became a champion, and Seth became a champion. And right now, those 3 are, as a unit, probably the worst drawing top contenders or top stars ever in WWE, and Stomping Grounds proved it. And the fact that, why WWE, they sent Brock Lesnar home. They refused to build new, bigger stars, first of all. That's an issue.
Right. Like Braun Strowman.
Yeah, turn Roman heel and build a new baby face at that expense. But, you got the tools in place to do it. Why did Daniel Bryan get de-pushed? He was having, and yes, losing the title to Kofi and getting put in a tag team with Rowan as champions is de-pushed. And again, maybe that had to do with not going to Saudi Arabia. He was on one of the pushes and journeys of his career, and that's big because of what happened at WrestleMania 30. TJS, are you not a big fan of what he did going into WrestleMania? And it's gone. He doesn't really even do that gimmick anymore, really. And they are just lost. And the fact that they're putting their female champion and their male champion together now, more or less, whether that's a real relationship or a work, I don't know. Kofi's being masked by his group, the New Day. I mean, I hate to say it, but the most credible main champion right now in WWE is Bayley. There's nobody with her. I mean, it's just Bayley and her, I don't know. She is, right? Because she doesn't have to be necessarily paired up with somebody.
Yeah.
But, and I say that like not wanting to say it, but to me, that's how I look at it. So, I don't know. Good discussion. Anything else? That's all I got this week.
Not really, no. I think we covered a whole lot.
It's going to be interesting to see people's comments, especially for like the Becky and Seth thing, and just what their thoughts are. We want to get your thoughts, NoDQ Galaxy. And if you want to troll, we can do that too. So let's take it home, TJS. I'll start with you.
NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page. Twitter at NoDQ_TJS. PlayStation Network, Tyler Joseph Smith. And I think we got a 4th of July sale coming up soon on Pro Wrestling Tees. So
new shirts too, right?
Oh yeah, new shirts in the works, I believe. And NoDQ.com/shirts takes you there. Pick one up, fellas. I'm not wearing mine because I'm terrible, but that we got some good designs. Big G.
Yes, NoDQ.com/Big G takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Feltel on Facebook. And like TJ said, there's a sale coming soon for 4th of July. Go buy a shirt. And that's it for the Big G. Virtue.
Well, we're going to go to Aaron Riff, but first, TJS, that color of that shirt, we talked about SpongeBob earlier. You actually kind of remind me of Patrick. But that's right. Patrick was my favorite character on that show. SpongeBob was like a little adult cartoon, too, in a way. Aaron Rift.
All right, so make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com this weekend. We got Fighter Fest on Saturday, which is going to be an interesting show. I may try to get Caitlin to do a review video with me since she'll be watching the show, I think. But I don't know. I might have to pressure her to show up on the video.
Oh, no.
So for Aaron Rift, this is Virtue. Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue.
Aaron, you're a bad person to pressure her like that. You shouldn't do that, man.
Right. All right, guys. So I guess that's all I got. Just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for Fighter Fest coverage.
And of course, well, thank you, gentlemen. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue or go to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue. That's it until next week. For Aaron Rift, for Big G, and for TJS on Virtue. See you next time.